What's up, everybody? I'm ZWade, the ZWade in ZWade Photo, and I've made a video similar to this, but there are some things I kind of wanted to revisit, and it's mostly because I'm not allowed to have an opinion, and I didn't make it abundantly clear that the one that I made that was similar to this was mostly my opinion and the way I interpret value. Value is, again, it's hard to quantify, but I think I can make this a little bit better by including, there were some lenses that I, mistakenly missed, but we are going to look at all of these, and I think everybody can agree with the results that I have after coming back and revisiting this. And so we have the same categories: shut your fat mouth and buy, high value, got what you paid for, overpriced, and I'll never know. But not only am I not really allowed to have an opinion, especially if I don't state it very, very specifically and in full detail, I'm also not allowed to not have a comment on something I've never used. So let's go ahead and we can go ahead and dive into this now. First up, we have the 14-24 f2.8s. This is Nikon's best wide-angle zoom that they've ever made. Can't really, well, you can deny that. I'm not allowed to have an opinion on that. This is likely the best wide-angle zoom that Nikon's ever made. We'll go ahead and put that in. Just shut your fat mouth and buy it. A little bit different story with the 14-30 f4s. If you really don't need the f2.8 that we have over here, if you don't need that aperture and you're not really worried about the 24 versus 30, because that is a gigantic difference. It changes the world whenever you have a few extra millimeters. It's going to be the same. It's going to be shut your fat mouth and buy it. Now, this one, I got in a lot of trouble for this one, guys, because I said, a few millimeters on the bottom and a few millimeters on the top aren't that big of a deal. And, people made some good points. You have angle of view, of course, but what I was talking about was, for me and the kind of things that I shoot, the small millimeter differences don't really factor in that much, because I mostly find myself in the 17 to 20 millimeter range anyway. Whenever I have a wide angle zoom, that's why I ended up just getting a 20 millimeter f1.8s, which we'll get to in a little bit. For me, those millimeters aren't a huge deal, but I probably should have specified that it can make a big difference to some people in some genres. And also, joking aside, for a particular look, right? The perspective is different. And also, if we're talking the price difference between this 2.8 and this 2.8, looking back at the value that you get, for like half the price or better, this has to go and shut your fat mouth and buy. In regards to the Nikon Z 24-50 f4 f6.3, I still stand behind, this is an okay lens. If you can get it for a very discounted price as the kit lens for, I believe, the Nikon Z5, then this is actually a very, very high value lens at that discount. However, I have to say that at full price, shut your fat mouth and buy it. The 24-70 f2.8s, quite an expensive lens, and we're going to be in the same kind of territory of the 24-70 f4. It's about half the price. And then you have the 28-75, which is probably a Tamron made, but Nikon made branded lens. When you have all of these side by side, all kinds of different price differences, different levels of performance and optical quality. If I had to put these in order of optical quality, I have to put this one in shut your fat mouth and buy. And then for these two, unfortunately, I don't think we have a choice but to shut our fat mouths and buy. Did you know that you can get some awesome perks by becoming a member of the ZWade Photo YouTube channel? Awesome perks like content recommendations, early access to all videos, unique member-only videos, and uncut or uncensored videos. Not everything on YouTube is able to be monetized, and if it can't be monetized, YouTube don't like it. But as a member, you'll get access to everything that YouTube deems unworthy of its algorithm. So fight the man by becoming a member of the ZWade Photo YouTube channel today. 24 to 120 f4s, you can literally do everything. It's sharp, it's got good focusing speed, excellent colors. This one stands, I mean, right where it's always been. Shut your fat mouth and buy. Okay, so we got the 70 to 200 f2.8s, we got the 70 to 180 f2.8s, and just tackling those two real quick, big difference in price, right? Value for money. The 70 to 180 f2.8s is definitely shut your fat mouth and buy. And then with the 70 to 200, we really can't do anything except shut your fat mouth and buy. So the Nikon Z1 to 400 4556S, this is the one that I forgot in the last one. Totally had the picture ready to go. It just didn't get loaded into Canva here. However, I do think that this lens, at its current price, if you're like a wildlife person, shut your fat mouth and buy. The 180 to 600 5663. I know they're having a hard time at the making of this video getting these things out the door. The demand for them is huge, and there's not a lot at this point to review as far as images go to see how good it is. It's just inherently shut your fat mouth and buy. Now the 24 to 400, now this is a crazy lens because it covers a huge range. I'm not even sure what the price of this is right now. There's hardly any videos on YouTube about it. Shut your fat mouth and buy. The 21.8, shut your fat mouth and buy, excellent saturation. The 24 f1.8s, not my favorite. I don't find it to be as good optically in any individual way comparing it to the 20mm. I think this is the better buy. I bought this for video. It's working excellently. And regardless of it not being as good as the 20mm, shut your fat mouth and buy. Just take the 26. A lot of people didn't like that this was priced at what it was priced at. It's excellent, has excellent color, every bit as good as any other prime, even though it's not an S-line lens. Yes, it's super tiny. I don't know how anybody can design a lens this small that's this good. It's way better than any of Nikon's previous pancake lenses. That is an opinion. Shut your fat mouth and buy. Both of these lenses, the 28-28, optically the same. This is called the SE. Don't get that confused with S-line. It's not an S-line. However, it is excellent, and shut your fat mouth and buy. Same kind of story with the 40, the 40 f2s. Don't get this one confused. It's the SE. It just means it's retro. They're optically the same. This one is more expensive than this one, even though they're optically the same. But nonetheless, shut your fat mouth and buy. Let's tackle the 35 f1.8s. It is my opinion that this is just an okay lens. I found it to be overpriced whenever it first launched because I think the 50 is better in a lot of ways. But I was wrong, and it's shut your fat mouth and buy. The 50MC, shut your fat mouth and buy. Who doesn't want a 50mm? The 50mm f1.8s, I go back and forth on this. Looking at some of my other older videos, I think this lens is incredibly awesome, but then sometimes I think maybe it's not as awesome as I think it is, and it's more on the okay side as far as color rendering goes, but in performance, it's absolutely excellent, and it's underpriced on its performance. Shut your fat mouth and buy. 51.2, shut your fat mouth and buy. The 58 knocked. The 85 1.8s, the 85 f1.2s, the Nikon 𝑭𝑚𝑪 f2.8s, the Nikon Z135 f1.8s. Shut your fat mouth and buy. The 404.5s. Is the f2.8 better optically? Probably. But this is a great priced lens. 404.5 is a really good aperture for Nikon to offer. Shut your fat mouth and buy. The 400 f2.8s. And you know, while we're here, we'll just also go ahead and cover the 600 millimeter f4s, both with these built-in TC converters, both VR, both S-line. I mean, guys, I'm really sorry that I don't have somewhere over $30,000 to buy both of these, so I can really get a real opinion, which I'm not really allowed to have anyway. But I mean, just because of what these are, shut your fat mouth and buy. You know, something that this 600 has in common with this 800 and really even the 400 as well. With the 600 6.3, I don't really have much of a use for 600. I think this is a good offering if I just wanted to have a 600 millimeter around for a rare occasion that I might want to dabble with wildlife. I'm very much like a people photographer. However, at this price compared to the $15,000 f4 version, f4 versus 6.3, is the f4 going to be sharper and faster? Probably at that price, but I'm not going to speculate on that because I'm not really allowed to. Either way, this is shut your fat mouth and buy. The 800, as I was going to say, it has in common with the 600. I don't need a 600 very often, so I would never really need a 800, I don't think. However, I do see how the value of an 800 to some people, price of this lens, shut your fat mouth and buy. And now for this one, this has gotten me in so much trouble. And this lens here, I went back and I watched my older videos on it, and I may have been a little bit unfair with the Nikon Z 24-200. You heard it here. I'm owning my opinions here. And, people change, guys. People change over time. And so you don't need to beat me up in the comments anymore. I think for what you pay, the Nikon Z 24-200 f4 6.3 absolutely 100% is overpriced. People are so whiny. Here's the thing, guys. When I don't script things out to be a bureaucratic mess that won't hurt anybody's feelings, this is what I get. Some of the whiniest, most ridiculous people in the comments. Guys, I get it. I've been doing this for 11 or 12 years. I know that for some people, a few millimeters, especially on the wide end, okay, a big deal of difference. It's huge. And, the perspective is different. I don't give a shit about angle of view. I just don't care. And if I don't script something out, it's not going to be included. I'm improvising this, including this whole video I just did was improvised to be entertainment, to be funny, to be goofy. And if I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just doing whatever I want to do. Photographers are some of the bitchiest people on the planet. If you stuck around this long, okay, I'm gonna give all the haters and all the people who bought something and they don't like hearing somebody say something negative about it, I'm gonna do you one. We can be friends again. The Nikon Z 24-200 f4 6.3. All joking aside, shut your fat mouth. Got him again. I'm ZWade, the ZWade, in ZWade Photo, and we're just having fun over here, guys.